Hi, so before we move on, I just want to go over the things we've learned in this section. Initially, you broke down the concept image into manageable bite-sized chunks. This is really important for project management and sort of tracking your project, keeping control of it, and it's actually quite satisfying ticking off the elements in your lists and seeing your progress as you go along. I mean, in a studio, you'll probably use something like an agile project management system, and it's kind of got that similar feel to it. But that's another course in itself. Then we looked at collecting reference material. Now we only sort of skim this, but this is something we're going to do more of going forward, and I'm going to get you to sign up to a website that has lots of material on it, which you can then download without any risk of copyright infringement or anything like that. And then we built a number of white box geometry objects, obviously for our next section where we're actually going to use those objects to build our scene in a simplistic boxy form for reasons that will become obvious when we actually do it, and we'll talk about that in more detail when we get there. And we learned a bunch of new modelling techniques, and this is something I want to take through all the way through the course. I'm going to be teaching you new things with each lecture, especially modelling. There's going to be a whole bunch of new material coming out for texturing and Substance Painter and UV mapping, all that stuff we've got to do. So there's a whole chunk of work to come. So we've only just started to sort of chip at the iceberg, so to speak. So the things we learned already are things like soft selection, really useful tool to select an element of your object and manipulate it while manipulating and controlling the area around it, which is really, really useful. And then we looked at the freeform tools, very useful for organic objects in particular. And this is sort of Max's sculpting tools, if you like, or part of them. Really useful, really powerful. And then we used curves to build some tree trunks, which was quite fun. And again, we'll use that again for our high detail ones, and we'll be using it on branches and things too. So we'll progress that further. And then we use polygon cut. If you can't do edge loop, then polygon cut is quite useful. If you want to, just put in an edge somewhere, cut out a hole if you like, then polygon cut is really, really useful. And I showed you how to isolate an object using isolation mode. Particularly useful if you have a lot of objects in your scene and you just want to pluck one out and isolate it just to work on that one model. And I showed you pivot positioning for animation, and along with that I showed you a very quick glimpse into Max's animation system, and it really was just a open the door and shut it again. It's very powerful. I won't be teaching you animation, I'll be teaching you simple movement, if you like. I'm not an animator, so but I can teach you the basics of how Max handles animation, and I will be doing that going forwards. And then we used FFT and noise to make our rocks, which is also quite fun. And again, like I say, we'll be using that a lot more. These are tools that I regularly use in Max, so we've just sort of started to encroach on the sort of meat on the bone, if you like. So I hope you're ready for the challenge, and it's going to be a lot of fun going forward. So if you have any comments about anything that you've done so far up to this point, please leave it in the comments section, and I will read them, and I'll try and answer any questions best I can and as quickly as I can. So that's it for now. I'll see you in the next section.